30 seconds and counting. 25 seconds and counting. We are still go. 20 seconds. Guidance alert. The guidance system now going internal. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening to our viewers in Europe and Africa. Good afternoon to our viewers in the Western Hemisphere. Good early morning to our viewers in the Pacific Rim. And welcome to the Angry Astronaut. Really appreciate you folks joining us. We've only done one 3i Atlas related live stream so far, so we got another one going. And as you can see, we have a nice little animation of 3i Atlas zooming by in the and I haven't seen this actually. I haven't actually seen this entire animation. This was created by Digital Voodoo. Does a great job. But in any event, where's everybody checking in from? We have a massive crowd right now, so won't be able to keep up with all of you. We got Kenya checking in, and we have the UK. We have Finland. Hello, and thank you very much for watching. Yeah, I suppose I should explain why I'm angry here in just a little bit. Hello, Devon. Hello, Michigan. Oh, my Pittsburgh. We have Indiana, Norfolk, Indiana again, Netherlands, St. Albans, Atlanta. It's just zooming by. Manchester, Netherlands, Alaska, Flagstaff, Arizona, Argentina, Denmark, Pacific Northwest, Finland. Thank you, Anton Nim, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Oh my God, look at it go by. We got Scotland. I can't keep up with all of it. Ontario, another Finland, Philadelphia, another Scotland, Brooklyn, New York, Corpus Christi, Clifton, Ireland, New Jersey, and it's just zooming by. Can't keep up with it. We got Australia, Berlin, New Orleans, Farouk, hey Farouk in New York. We got Saskatchewan and Chicago, New Zealand going by. We got Copenhagen. Hello, Easter Island. My God, really? Easter Island? Okay, we have Saskatchewan watching as well. We got Wales checking in Sweden and Austria, Roswell and Indianapolis. We thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, for the support. Really appreciate that. How many people we got on stream right now? 750 people watching already. This is unprecedented, guys, to have a massive crowd like this checking in right at the beginning. You can tell how popular this topic is right now. Hello, South Dakota. Hello, NORAD. Hello, Netherlands and Slovenia and Florida and Scotland again, East Devon and Ohio, Nova Scotia, another Finland. Tell you, a lot of Florida folks. Yes, New Brunswick. Hello, and thank you very much for joining us. Epstein Island, Tatooine, South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, very close to Greenville, South Carolina, where I made my home for 25 years. Belgium and Portugal, Antarctica, really? Antarctica? Okay. Wow. Interesting time of year to be there. Switzerland and West Virginia. Boy, I said Mobile all over the place, as always. We got the Channel Islands checking in as well, in the Missouri Ozarks. I'm sorry, who's in the house? Oh, hey, Lady General, another friend, a fellow creator. Boy, another couple of super chats. You guys are legends. Thank you so very much. We got George McCann. With the Fiverr, really do appreciate it. And then Red Sun Survivors Council, really, really appreciate that as well. So yeah, the Multiplanetary Society checking in. Thank you very much. So huge, huge number of people. If I didn't catch you, I'm very sorry. This is a huge crowd. So I'm here pretty much to take your questions about one of the most significant astronomical events in the history of mankind, in the history of modern civilization. Not that this sort of object hasn't passed through our solar system before. It's very likely that something like this has passed through our solar system at some point. It's just we have the capability now to examine it, to recognize the fact that it came from an interstellar destination, and we didn't have that capability before. So also it's worth mentioning that an object this bright, and by the way, it's getting brighter and brighter every day. And by the way, it's starting to form a tail as well. So it is starting to look more like a comet with its recent development. Regardless, this thing is so damn bright that we would have seen it, even if it was passing through the solar system back in the 1980s, 1970s, 1980s. We would have noticed it. And by its velocity, we would have known that it came from an interstellar destination. But guess what? We haven't had an object like this pass through the inner solar system in the 70s or 80s. I mean, we're talking about an event that really hasn't happened for at least 2 to 3 generations in the history of humanity. So that being the case, this is a very, very big deal, regardless of what it might be. And even if it is just a comet, just a comet, what we know about it already shows that it's if it is a comet, it is one of the most unique comets that has ever been observed, or just that we've ever seen, period. It differs from comets in our solar system tremendously. It differs so much that, in my opinion, we still really can't responsibly call it a comet with an absolute certainty. Let me give you an example as to why that's the case. If we were to take an icy moon from the outer solar system, say Triton or something along those lines, and toss it into the inner solar system, a lot of the same things would start to happen. All that ice would start to sublimate. Jason, thank you so much. Really appreciate your support. What was that, producer? Wow, we got 1,000 people watching. That's mind blowing. So, if we were to take one of the icy moons from the outer solar system and put it in the inner solar system, a lot of the same things would start to happen. You would still have the ice sublimating, forming a coma around this moon, and even perhaps a tail. Now, we still call it a comet and not a moon under those circumstances. So it terminology is a difficult thing here. And we, even now, modern day astronomers, sometimes are now calling comets that have no tails comets, something called dark comets, which, by the way, I'm not even convinced that dark comets really exist. I think they may actually instead be man-made objects that we have simply lost track of and have spotted in recent years. But these dark comets that don't form tails, that nothing sublimates off of them, and yet we still call them comets. So comet has a huge, huge definition that includes lots of different types of objects. So just because an object is being called a comet doesn't mean that we should be limiting what it might be and how different it might be. So no, just to be clear, it cannot be an object from the Oort cloud unless it were to make some sort of bizarre close approach to a planet that we haven't seen. In other words, if there were a planet in the Oort cloud that we are unfamiliar with and it happened to do a really close approach to it in a slingshot maneuver, something bizarre like that, maybe, but no, its velocity is far too high for it to originate from any place in the solar system. It's far, far higher than the escape velocity of the sun. John, really, really appreciate your support. Thank you very, very much. So yeah, let's go ahead. And I'm happy to answer any question. Do they know its physical size yet? No, they don't. And the reason they don't know the physical size is because some people say that especially people like Avi Loeb, that the main light source, the amount of light that's coming from this object is so bright because the object itself is huge. Whereas other people are saying, no, 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 it's just a huge and very compact cloud of dust surrounding the nucleus that's reflecting light, and that's why it's so bright. So there's and one thing we do know is that dust, or whatever it is, I'm not even sure that it's dust, but something is obscuring the nucleus from our view. So therefore, we don't really know how big it is. Avi Loeb argues that if it were a compact cloud of dust, then it should have started forming a tail long before it actually did. Should have had a big, magnificent tail behind it, because the dust would have been affected by the solar wind and blasted back behind the object, which it never was. Instead, the dust, quote unquote, either was concentrated around the nucleus or even advanced in front of the nucleus, something called an anti-tail. And this is something that was confirmed by the James Webb Space Telescope and other instruments. So again, anti-tails are not completely unknown amongst comets. They can happen, but at the same time, they're really, really rare. And you're going to hear me say that a lot tonight. There's a lot of weird things about this thing that theoretically can happen, but at the same time, really, really rare. Grace, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Yep, there's definitely some people who have been channeling alien intelligences, that sort of thing. They claim, at least, to be able to channel things. And yes, I have heard about that. The prediction that there would be alien first contact this year. Maybe so. And that's another thing that's so incredibly significant about this object, and something that I think everybody should take very, very seriously here. Anti-tail retro rockets, Chris Henderson just brings that up. Yes, maybe so. If this object starts doing something that is artificial, that suggests artificial control, if it begins to deviate off its course more than natural cometary outgassing would make something this size deviate, if it starts doing that, then it's going to start becoming super, super obvious that this thing is under intelligent control and it's not just a comet of some kind. If that happens, you're going to see human civilization start to descend into chaos. You're going to have some panic selling on the market. These are things that I don't want to see happen. People are going to freak out once it becomes clear that we have the creation, a very, very large creation, by the way, of a sophisticated alien civilization zooming right through our solar system. If we were to get if, for example, we were to get a transmission like a wow signal that definitely came from an artificial source. Let's say that we got a wow signal from 100 light years away or 1,000 light years away saying, hey, we're here and we don't like you and we're coming to invade you today. Well, it would take at least a century for a civilization that far away to even invade us. It would still be quite a ways off in the future. Even if there was an active threat, might not create the same kind of chaos that this object is going to create if we just know that it's artificial, because we have something right within our own solar system, something that seems to be under intelligent control and something that could deviate towards us. That would just terrify people and put, as I say, put our civilization into a chaotic state. You have a lot of people, attaching religious significance to the event, others doomsday prepping, that sort of thing. Others excited and looking forward to our first contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. Hard to say, but given how many science fiction movies are out there that where we see something very large, artificial, making its way through the solar system, usually that doesn't have a very good ending in our science fiction movies. So people's imagination would get sparked in a terrifying way. So a lot of I have to admit, there's a big part of me that kind of wonders whether or not I would like to see that at all. Yeah, and Paul just mentions, let's hope they send Juno. That would be a very good thing if they do. So again, is it a rock? Uh yeah, actually, Skywatch, I think it's very likely a rock. Does that mean that it's not an a extraterrestrial construct? No, it doesn't mean that. Traveling between the stars, one of the best ways to do that is to modify a rock and to use it as an interstellar spacecraft. So that's something that's something we need to keep in mind. Just because it's a rock doesn't mean that it isn't the product of an extraterrestrial civilization. Grace, thank you so much for the $5. And yes, if the dolphins leave and say thanks, so long, and thanks for all the fish, yeah, that's when we're in trouble. But once again, I personally am very disinclined to think that this is an object that means us any harm. If it is an object that's under intelligent control, I really don't think that it's out to get us, so to speak. If it were, I think that it would be accelerating toward us already. It would already be maneuvering for a slingshot maneuver around the sun to come get us, because it would be very clear to most extraterrestrial civilizations that are keeping our technology and our civilization under observation that we would be incapable of stopping it, that there'd be very little we could do to stop an object of this size from impacting us or orbiting us, whatever. So I would say that if this thing meant us any sort of malice, we would see maneuvering already coming from it. So I think what is more likely, given its trajectory, if it's under intelligent control, and I want to be 100% clear here, I don't 100% believe that at all. I can't even say that I don't 50% believe that that's the case. Say I'm in Avi Loeb's camp on this, on the Avi Loeb scale, so to speak, where 1 means that an object is absolutely definitely natural, and a 10 means that it's absolutely 100% artificial. I'd put it at a 4, which is where Avi Loeb has it right now. And the things that justify that are its trajectory, which is extremely unusual, and also all of the weird composition that we've been seeing thus far from this object that is completely unlike any completely unlike any comet that we have observed thus far. Very, very difficult. Yes, nickel, the question from Farouk, the story about nickel being a detected byproduct of a spacecraft, that has been hypothesized again by Avi Loeb. Almost nobody else is going to hypothesize that, but we have never seen that before from any comet. There is nickel, not a lot of nickel, by the way. We're only talking a few kilograms per second, or per, I believe, per hour, being produced by this object, but still enough to be detected. And that is not unusual for comets, because as comets sublimate ice, as ice becomes gaseous at this water coma, sometimes it'll take the rocky surface of the object with it. And that can include, in the case of nickel iron asteroids or something that has a nickel iron composition, it can include nickel and iron. But what it never, ever, ever includes is nickel with no iron. If we see any evidence of metal in the coma, we're never going to see nickel without iron. And so the reason that Avi Loeb hypothesized the idea that we're dealing with an artificial object here is because the byproduct of many nickel-based alloys is pure nickel. Nickel waste products, nickel tailings, get produced by the manufacture of nickel-based alloys such as nickel titanium, for example, which is a very sophisticated memory metal. So once again, really interesting. And the notion that this is happening again naturally by chance, yes, there are certain chemical compositions that could form naturally that would explain the presence of nickel with no iron. But again, it's something we've never seen before. And it's also a very weird combination of elements that would make that happen. So once again, here we have an object that, number one, is producing this anti-tail. Okay. Number two, we have this nickel with no iron. Number three, there's almost no organics, maybe zero organics being detected in the coma either. That is very, very strange. These carbon-based organics are a hallmark of comets. Comets are generally composed of these sorts of materials, in addition to ice, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, that sort of thing. And instead, there's a strange absence of organics in the coma too. So you've got lots of bizarre things about this object in terms of composition. Strange indeed. On top of its bizarre trajectory, a trajectory that adheres to the plane of the ecliptic. That's super close to the plane of the ecliptic, which is the only thing that allows it to adhere, or that allows it to be intercepting or come very close to 3 different planets in the solar system, and also pass behind the sun at the moment when it should be making its closest approach to Earth. So it's lost in the sun's glare at the moment when it gets the closest to Earth. Again, interesting that all 4 of those things are happening purely by chance. I've plugged the numbers into various AIs to determine what the odds of all of that are. We're talking hundreds of thousands to 1, if not 1,000,000 to 1 odds that these sorts of things all could have happened by chance. And that's just trajectory. I'm not talking about composition here. I'm just talking its trajectory alone is anywhere from 1 to 200,000 to 1 to 1,000,000 to 1 odds for all of that to have happened purely by chance. So yeah, extreme weirdness. By the way, there also a question just came in: is this object coming from the same direction as the WOW signal? Not exactly. For those of you who don't know, in 1977 we picked up one of the most compelling artificial-like transmissions from an interstellar destination, an extremely powerful narrow-band transmission. And if I'm remembering correctly, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to say which constellation because my brain is kind of freaking out right now. One thing I can say is that there's only a distance of a few arc seconds in the sky from where we saw 3i Atlas originate from and the source of this transmission. So once again, interesting coincidence if it's a coincidence, but if it isn't, yeah, very interesting indeed. Critical thinking, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate the $5, and appreciate the support that's been coming in all night. Notice we have somebody checking in from Australia, another one from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm leaving for Australia on Thursday. Can't wait. Going to Australia primarily to attend the biggest aerospace conference in the world, the IAC conference in Sydney, which I have been granted journalist credentials for. Not everybody gets that. I just feel very, very grateful for the fact that the IAC organization granted me those credentials, because in many cases, lots of times they won't do that for a YouTuber. They'll only do that for the mainstream journalists out there, the NBC, CNNs, BBCs of the world, that sort of thing, not for people like me. But they have done this for me consistently several times now, for Paris, and also for Milan, Italy, and now for Sydney. I'm super, super excited about that. And as I say, very grateful for that opportunity. So this is going to be a very big event, lot of bleeding edge technology there. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Pop Sue says, if it is indeed natural, then it just shows that things are weirder outside the solar system than we think, and evolution traits are different too. Yeah, I agree, Pop Sue. And yeah, so I mean, and this is what should be making everybody excited, is that regardless of what this object is, and the fact that we don't know for sure what it is, that makes it so exciting. That's one of the things that is so exciting about it. But regardless of what it might be, we've never seen anything like it before. It differs radically in so many ways from anything that we have. Yeah, you know what? Want it to be what they think. Oh, as opposed to what do people want it to be versus what they think it is. That'd be an interesting poll. Maybe you can run something like that there, producer. Let's see if we can get a poll going. By the way, go ahead. I'm sorry. Would you would you prefer it to be, what do you want it to be versus what do you think it is? I guess what not what you okay, what people want it to be, not what you think it is. Okay. So it not what they think it is, but rather what they want it to be is the question that's being asked. That's an important difference, I think, is that you can think that it's a rock, but you'd really like it to be an artificial object. By the way, I definitely want it to be an artificial object. Clearly, I want us to have indisputable evidence that there are other advanced civilizations in our galaxy. Definitely want to see that. Do I think that it's definitely an artificial object? No, I don't. As I mentioned before, on the lobe scale, as it is called, with 1 being definitely natural, 10 being definitely artificial, I've got it at a 4 right now. And the reason I have it at a 4 is because, number one, because of that trajectory, that highly unlikely trajectory that it follows currently, that would serve an extremely useful purpose, by the way, as you're seeing right now, going past Mars, just in a great position to be checking out several different planets and the moons of our solar system. Again, that looks like by design. And secondly, the unusual composition. However, we haven't seen it deviate its course. That is the big giveaway for an artificial object in my mind. Ride, thank you so much for your support. Really, really appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. So yeah, that something that shows signs of artificial propulsion. That's where the big giveaway comes from. And by the way, that is something that we saw with Oumuamua. I'll get to that in just a second here. Michael, thank you so much for the $20 Canadian. Has there been any investigation of light variation to conclude if it is a non-uniform shape? Actually, yes, the light curve was examined. And again, though, interpretations vary widely. Avi Loeb believes that the light curve of the object suggests that there is light coming from the object itself, that it is generating light, not the other way around, not reflected light. Which that, if that would be confirmed, that would definitely indicate artificiality. An object of this size should never be generating its own light. Craig, thank you for the tenor, and that is your first super chat of any live stream. I'm honored. Thank you so much for doing that. But yes, getting back to the artificial propulsion, and the reason why I put Oumuamua on that Loeb scale, I put that at about an 8, maybe even a 9. And the reason I put Oumuamua so high on that scale is it shifted so much out of its trajectory, accelerated out of the solar system to such a degree that only the comets that have produced enormous amounts of very visible outgassing have demonstrated that much acceleration as far as natural objects are concerned. We have not seen any other natural object, including, by the way, 95% of comets out there that have been able to accelerate or deviate that much, no matter how much outgassing, visible outgassing we have seen. And yet, Oumuamua showed no visible outgassing at all, 0. And yet it deviated far more than even comets that deviate because of outgassing. So is there anything else in nature that would cause an object to suddenly start speeding up as it's heading out of the solar system to that degree? The answer is no. There is nothing in nature that we are familiar with. So in any event, folks, wow, I can't believe that we have gone through half an hour like that so quickly. It is mind-boggling. I'm going to take one more question. If somebody wants to throw one more question, you know what? Even though there's a question about the speed of light, I'm going to go ahead and I want something more about 3i Atlas. So it's supposed to extend to half the circumference of the sun. Won't that mean that it will envelope Mars as it goes by? Maybe, but only if the coma increases in size radically. At the moment, at least as far as our most recent observations of this object are concerned, it is surrounded by a carbon dioxide cloud with a radius of 300,000 kilometers, so a total diameter of 600,000 kilometers. So that being the case, it's not going to pass within 600,000 kilometers of Mars, not even close to that. So no, it won't envelop Mars unless that coma draws a lot more. Odysseus, thank you so much. Really appreciate the kind remark and the tenor. Thank you so much. And YouTube watcher, thank you very much. Next major event in the timeline, well, the close approach to Mars is going to be the next major event in terms of what it's going to do. And at that point, it's 3i Atlas is going to be picking up a lot of speed. And at that point, it will pass behind the sun and make its closest approach to Earth, but completely out of our view later in October. And then after that, it will be hightailing it out of the solar system at a much, much greater speed because it will have made a slingshot maneuver, not a complete slingshot, but maneuver past the sun that will cause it to accelerate. And then Jupiter will be its next destination. Gabe, thank you so much. Really appreciate your support. I agree with you completely. Man, it is exciting. And what a huge crowd we have here tonight, almost 1,800 people. I don't know what to say aside from thank you. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you so much for the generous super chats. If you'd like to support the channel in some other way, the best way to do it is on Patreon. All the details are in the description. And as all of you know, I'm going to keep you up to date on this topic because, man, it is very big news by anybody's description. So I will keep you up to date on every new development. Oh, wow. Easy EV. Thank you for that last second super chat. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. Till next time, guys, stay angry about space.